Hello friends, my name is Steve and we're here today to discuss The Mirror's Truth, chapters 8 through 22. And the intro and outro music is from Michael R. Fletcher, so anyone who is listening and enjoys the music, be sure and check out his YouTube channel that is linked down below. So we're here today. Dan, thanks for coming by this week. We missed you last week.
Yeah, again, real life, sometimes take precedence and makes you forget.
No, I'm not being sarcastic, really.
I'm sure you had a great discussion anyways. So.
Yeah. So will you give us an introduction?
Why not? I'm Dan. I like books. And that's the only relevant part for this discussion.
And Varsha.
Hi, I'm Varsha. I run a tiny YouTube channel called Reading by the Rainy Mountain and more recently a little podcast called Bright Threads by the Tapestry.
Very good stuff. Everyone be sure to go check it out.
Yeah.
Great series.
They're nice game. There's nice names actually for both of them. I've always thought.
Thank you, Dan. I really appreciate that.
Very good stuff. So Dan, since you weren't here last week, what were your thoughts on 1 through 7 chapters?
I don't remember. Maybe some
just in general.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm starting to accumulate some things that I like when they happen, and some things which I'm like, some grievances where like, I don't know if I like when they happen. So it's kind of like, I'm still enjoying myself, but I'm hoping to see more of what I like in the next parts, I guess. Which is like the stuff that I like is the more dark and gritty parts, which are somehow, I don't know. It feels like sometimes it's a bit this whole going back and forth in death. It makes it so that I'm like, okay, even if they die, I don't care really too much because they're still sort of there, It lessens the stakes a bit. But, that's a part of sort of like lessening the stakes and the more bit funny stuff because it makes it less dark and sad and dreary, which I like. Yeah, so I like in this one, the last part with the torturer was really good. I really liked that part because it was gruesome, it was disgusting, and I was into that.
Nice, very nice. I was just looking over my notes for the first 7 chapters, but what were your thoughts on Koenig being failure? Now he's now a failure.
I like it. It's too bad we haven't gotten much of him though in this volume. Like, he's mainly, we've got I think a couple of chapters of him, but not much else, and everything else is just what do you see? I think some just people maybe mentioning him, Morgan mentioning him, and that's it. I don't think we've had much more of that. But maybe it's going to be more important later on when all the other delusionist weird guys that are hunting them do something. I don't know. Because again, the last thing we saw was like him sending them out, and that's it, right? We haven't heard from him since. But I guess he hasn't had anything to do. He's just waiting now, right?
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. So.
But well, I hope we see more of him.
Yeah, I thought that.
Character.
Yeah, when we finished this set, I was like, well, I miss Koenig. I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, poor guy. Yeah, actually, like one of the things that I wanted maybe to hear your opinion on is like thinking more in general, not thinking about like their specific objectives right now. Like, what are the stakes in this series? Like, what's at stake here? Are they trying to prevent Morgan from making the world better? That's what's at stake?
Well, is it better though? Is he just the the opposite of, because he wants everything very neat and he doesn't want anything to be dirty. Everything has to be white. It's is that necessarily better, or is it just another form of like oppression?
But it did seem like the people were happy in the town, in his realm, right? As compared to Glottus and those other ones where everyone was like not, a bit depressed or not having a good time. And yeah, like when they all came back from death into real life, and it mentioned how, these people seem happy, there are some negative things, but to be honest, compared to, again, everything else that's happening in this world, it seems an improvement to me, personally. It's not like everyone else is free and happy and, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think, so should we be rooting for Morgan? I guess that's the question, right?
I'm sort of rooting for him.
I guess out of all of them, he's the best hope we have, I think, in this world anyway. I'm still not convinced that this isn't some type of after death that they're in to begin with. I think a character in this section mentions that like we're in hell already, like this is hell. So I don't know, but it may have just been, maybe nothing.
Gross speech. Yeah. I mean, like, what's Bedect's like final plan? Okay, stop Morgan and then go back to how it was because it was so much better before, or what is that what he wants?
Is it that people were less under the control of religious overlords, if you will, and therefore more free? Is that a possible interpretation?
Were they though?
Well, yeah, that's a good point, Varsha. I think so. Could it be that they have free will? They don't have free will under Morgan, and they do otherwise. So I guess it's: do you want a world where you have free will to do what you want, or do you want to be controlled and have everything, have Morgan orchestrate everything and have it? Because I think he does have some people killed, right? That are dirty or that are unclean. So yeah, it's a great point, Varsha. I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, but what is? I do see your point, though, Dan. Like, what is, from their point of view, what is Bedect trying to stop Morgan from doing? Oh, I think he's trying to bring war, right? That is one of the things that he wants to stop. Bedect is aware of Morgan's plan to wage war on anyone who doesn't bow to their religion. So maybe he's saving lives, so to speak.
Yeah,
And
I guess so.
the after death is more washed out. They aren't really living. So even though for us as readers, it feels like, we are reading about the characters with the same almost life as they had in the world of the living. I think for them, it's a more washed out experience, right? When all of them come back to the world of the living, they're all really thrilled that they can taste alcohol again, that they can see the world in color again, and their sexual drive is back or whatever. So, yeah, I guess it's less takes than if you're like done and dusted, you stop existing when you die, but it's still pretty bad. I think they wouldn't want to die, it seems like.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I guess. Maybe I want more description of how they feel and, like a bit more depth to like their feeling instead of just telling me, they feel like this. I want to feel how they feel,
Yeah.
I want to feel a bit of like the anguish and like, I really want this, right?
Yeah. I guess all three of our main characters that we're following are sort of emotionally bankrupt, so it's difficult to,
Yeah. Like I've been trying to think about how to put this into like how to understand exactly what I'm missing from from the characters, because they're not like, we get complex emotions and contradictions and like the humanity in them, right? Because they have more complicated emotions than just like, go point A to point B and have a drink or something, right? But but there's something, some little thing which I'm missing. Which I don't know what it is, to make it so. It feels more. Yeah, like I'm reading a character more than I'm inhabiting a character when I'm reading. I don't know why. I don't know exactly why. Maybe I just need more description of their feeling. Maybe that's what I need. I don't know.
Yeah.
More torment, more. I don't know.
More trauma, more torment. Yeah.
Yeah, because they seem very flippant a lot of the times about what's happening, right? It's like, oh, I feel like this. Oh, who cares? Sort of, Like Stellan. Okay, I want to understand Stellan. What her deal is, right? Like, does she just because she falls in love with everyone? Is that what's happening? Is that she needs approval? Is that she needs love? Is that what's happening? I just don't understand what her deal is. Maybe.
Yeah, I think so far we sort of got a sense that she has experienced some trauma. We don't know yet what that is. But I wonder if I also feel a certain lack of connection with the characters, but I wonder if it's because we see all of them through the lens of their delusion. Except for Bedek, but then he has one driving aspect. So they all have, I don't like to use the word single dimensional. It's not that. It's just, there is a very big focus on the delusion nature of their character. Is that why, like, we get less of everything else? Maybe that's why. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. Or maybe, going back to Stellan, she's like, even when she's like, because we have this whole relationship with them, so this love-hate relationship, right? They sort of don't like each other, but they kind of like each other, right? And they say, oh, I'm going to kill you, and then they don't. So I'm like, I kind of don't know what they're actually feeling. Like, do they actually don't like each other? Does she actually want to? I think at the end of this chapter we were reading, like, Stellan saves Wiptic, right? So he's not gonna kill her, or is he gonna kill him? How do I say? It's sort of like when you're old friends, and then you say to your friends, "Oh, you're a piece of shit." It sort of feels a bit like that.
Yeah.
Which to me doesn't make too much sense. I don't know. Like, I feel like at this point it should be either one or the other, sort of, like, it feels to me like when someone betrayed someone else, they should have been like, oh, now it's turning, and now I want to actually kill him. Now they become actual enemies. That that would have. I don't know if I'm explaining what I'm thinking. It's hard.
No, I think I follow. I think it's like this, almost like a very dysfunctional found family. That's they're kind of realizing that they're kind of realizing now, because they've been separated and they all killed each other, and then now they're back, and now that Stellan is looking for acceptance from someone else, and she realizes that. I forget her name, that the woman she's with that she had killed before. The first chance she gets, she's like, well, okay, well, here's a back rub and an orgasm, and see you later. And so she kind of like leaves, and Stellan even says, like, I'm going to kill her before she leaves, not after she leaves, to prevent her from leaving her. And it kind of dawns on her that even though she wants to kill Wichtig and Bedekt, she still wants them around. They do go back and forth a lot.
But it is, maybe that's what it is. Like you said, the dysfunctional family. It makes me think more of a. We're going more into the comedy area than the grimdark. Like, I just thought of a comparison. Like, if we compare their relationship with like the second apocalypse, Sorwheel and what's her name? The daughter of Kellis.
I forget.
Anyways, you know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
There, we still have this sort of simulation. It's like a love-hate relationship, right? But there, I can feel like the conflict. I can feel like how disgusted he feels about all these conflicting feelings and how hard it is for him, right? And that's what I wanted. I was hoping from that setup, right? Maybe that explains it a bit better what I was thinking.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. I think we haven't gotten, like you said, we haven't gotten as much of the internal, like the in-depth feelings that we did in like Second Apocalypse, because I think I was going to say we have a lot more characters in this, but we don't. I think we have more characters in the Second Apocalypse.
It's shorter though.
Yeah, that's true. It is shorter. And I think a lot of the focus is on the delusions and the world, and not as much. And that's one thing that I think is a big change in this one, is it's much more plot focused. I think the first book is more character. So that was a pretty big change, I think, in this book. But yeah, I didn't really think of it that way. But I think another thing is, I wonder how much of this is them just not, because when they did come back, they were losing their memories and their. So as far as like stakes, there is a little bit of stakes, but because they do start to forget things and they forget names and places, and they leave a piece of themselves in the afterdeath or behind. So yeah, maybe just because they've been through these events together, and they just have this sense of camaraderie because this love-hate thing. But yeah, I mean, I can see your point.
Yeah, but you're right. Yeah, I did actually. Yeah, the first book I enjoyed more than the second book for now, because it was more character focused. You're right. More than the plot. I don't know. Maybe I like characters more than plot. I don't know. Never thought about it. Never thought about that. But yeah, but there are some parts which I liked about this book too. Like this last part again. It's pretty fun. Pretty interesting to see. Like the delusion, this new delusionist type about self-harm, right? And again, this is another one which we can relate to real life, right? So that's why it also feels more real and more interesting, maybe? I don't know. What do you think about it?
What do you think, Varsha?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I always, in this series, I always enjoyed when a new delusion comes on the page, and I like to think about what real life aspects inspired that. So this was pretty interesting. And I guess dark in the sense of like describing the details of her mutilation, especially when bodily fluids are mentioned. I'm off.
Yeah.
So yeah, we lost the slaver, but we got her back for making many bodily fluid references.
I even though it was like a gruesome scene, the way that the witch stick tries to talk with missing his teeth, and he tries not to have a lisp because he's trying to charm her. this really dark, brutal torture scene, and I just couldn't help but laugh at some of the humor in it.
Wasn't there when they were mispronouncing the name of the city, and she tells off her guard, he's lost his teeth, you still have yours.
Yeah. I'm hoping that from this we go to somewhere where Victor can't fight anymore, and he's like, oh, what do I have now, right? And some self-destruction, and who knows, maybe he's got self-destruct, maybe he's gonna find something else to do. But I'm hoping for a first one. It'll be more interesting.
What do you think of the sun Alptrom?
Alptrom?
Victig's son when he showed up.
Oh, the son, yeah. Was it his son? It's just in his mind, right?
Yeah. The illusion that he saw, or as a nightmare when he was sleeping.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty obvious that it's like, that's not what I think, but it's pretty obvious that's what he thinks, right? About himself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is fair enough.
Yeah.
He's kind of escaping
back
from things, right? So, but yeah, I wonder if yeah, I assume these with Ultron, whatever, they don't know what actually in real life, so they don't know if his wife is dead or not, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless the Altram know reality as well, because the mirror is that what's his name, Bedect is traveling with. She claims to know things from about Bedect from his past, and she knows them. The reflection actually told her the details. So it's possible that the nightmares know the reality. But where are they getting all this information from? Yeah, it's interesting how, like, is it, yeah. I wonder what the underlying fabric is, so to speak, of the world, like where information is communicated and they become aware of things from each other. Maybe reflections can talk to each other and get information about what happened. Is that what it is?
That could be it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think we've been told how they see the future, right? Have we?
I don't think so.
No.
Okay.
And
But yeah, like that also makes me think about the fact that, like, Victig is supposed to be the best fighter, the best swordsman in the world, and he seems to be the weakest of them three because he's the only one that sort of loses over time. Not all the time, but you know, he's the first one that dies the other time. He's the one that gets caught here, right? But it makes him more interesting because there's a bit more, you know, he doesn't seem as strong or as invulnerable as the others, I think. He's died 3 times already. 2 times and maybe, well, he's getting tortured now. But yeah.
But the fight scene he had with the current greatest swordsman in the world, I thought that was very interesting because I don't know if you both had this impression too, but it felt like Victig was more manipulation, less skill in his in the reasons for why he's the greatest swordsman in the world. And then he just went and defeated someone quite easily using largely skill regardless of what he said. He used his abilities and skills to defeat a swordsman whom he claimed is a swordsman purely by skill and not by manipulation. So I wonder if, because we only got how good a swordsman Victig is from Bedect and Stellan's perspective, because they only ever made fun of him, and Victig himself, who claimed that most of it was manipulation, that he's actually a good swordsman, but so far we've been almost led to believe otherwise, but now we actually saw that he's really good and is deserving of the title.
Yeah. Probably a combination of both, right? I guess. Yeah, because if you're useless, I don't know. If people really believe in it, but you're really bad, are you still actually really good?
Yes. You become good because you're shaped by the delusions of
the... True. I guess so. Yeah, well, but I guess now he'll be even worse, though. He'll be pretty bad, though. Given his missing finger.
He's become less pretty, and he's lost his teeth.
Well, yeah, he's lost a finger, he's lost, 2 fingers, right? And the toe for balance.
Yeah.
Right?
Bedect and Victig have taken a lot of damage in the last few chapters. I'm curious about where we'll go from here. I was wondering if we are leading up to going into the second after death.
Just going there again.
Who else thought that he lost his appendage at the end of that chapter? Because when he passes out, I thought he passed out because he was in pain, but thankfully for him, he was saved. Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of thought that didn't happen when it faded to black. That's usually very suspicious when in movies or books and videos. Like, I don't know. Why are you not describing it?
Yeah, I didn't think he had lost it yet. I wasn't sure if he was going to, but because he fainted immediately after she told him that's what she was going to do.
It would have been more interesting if he did.
Mm.
I tried to remember. There was a book where the main character that happened to him. I can't remember which book it was, though. I mean, it wasn't good for his mental state and everything else. It was pretty bad, but I don't remember actually. We will try to think about it. But yeah, well, that would have been pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, you can say that again. And I think last week we talked about Morgan and how he's aged and how he's older now, and we were wondering if it was like him projecting himself, but it had 10 years have passed when they were in the after death. So I thought,
True.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but other part I was also kind of confused about how it works. Like the fact that like the after death time works different, and also like the stuff you do in real life is not necessarily mirrored in the after death, like the walls, right? But does that mean that when people in the after death have to build everything there? So why would anything be mirrored, right? It should all just be completely different, right? I think.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Or unless maybe after a while it sort of slowly leaks into the after death, but he wasn't willing to wait, so he was just like, "Oh, you need to do it now." Could be. But I was wondering about that.
I want to say eventual consistency. Sorry.
Maybe. Yeah, and then I guess he's building the walls of the after death because he wants it to be mirrored, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what he said? Because he wants it to be nice and tidy, right? Not because he's expecting an attack in the after death, right?
I think the purpose of the walls was to let the filth not come in, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
That's why he wanted the walls in the after death. Also, he wasn't really protecting against any. He was protecting against the invasion of dirt. That's what he was protecting from.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. I guess we can talk about Morgan, about his thing with filth and cleanliness and everything, and it seems like it's gotten worse. I think, right? It feels like probably if he had ascended when he was just in, without doing the whole trip and everything, it would have been better because he would have been less compulsive about it, I think. Or maybe not.
Yeah. He wouldn't have been violated, or how do they describe it? He wouldn't have been soiled. So maybe he would have been in better control.
Do you think he's overcompensating for that?
And he was always obsessed with cleanliness, right? Even before he was violated.
True.
But maybe he wouldn't have used it as a weapon, I want to say, if he had ascended without being subjected to whatever he was outside of the city.
Yeah. I don't know, but I thought it was nice when they showed, let's just kill those beggars because they're dirty and I don't want them in my city, right?
Yeah.
It's a nice touch. I'm not saying that's what you should do. I'm just saying it showed a bit how extremely he was gonna go for it, Yeah. I thought that was a nice touch, because otherwise, the only thing we've seen is, everything is nice here, right? We needed to see, maybe we'll see a bit more of that, how to keep things nice, it's sort of prevent people from doing what's good, or, I don't know, eliminate the undesirable things from the world just because you don't want to see them.
Even just, it seems like it kind of get the impression it's going to be a problem for him in this war that he's getting ready to wage, because even they start digging holes or digging a trench for the human waste, and the waste from the animals for what, like 15,000 troops. And it's like,
Yeah.
what are they going to do? What are they going to do if they don't put it somewhere? And they should, can't they carry it with them? Like, can't they, so that it sounds like it'll pack it in. So it sounds like his compulsions will be an issue at some point in this war, and his reflection will too, because his reflection is popping out and tackling him now. So maybe it'll be a bigger problem for him later.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
I liked when his reflection said that you will be the only imperfection in your perfect world because you're insane. Because Morgan says, I'm going to rid the world of the insane to make it perfect, but he's still insane because he's a god and he has delusions. So yeah, I love that conversation between them, that even when you do everything you want to do, you will still have imperfection because you are the imperfection yourself.
I feel like at that point I would just say, I don't give a shit, like it's like, why should he care? I guess it is compulsive for him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've seen him, right, trying to rub away the imaginary blood from his robes and from his hands, right? Yeah, again, that's another part where I just would like a bit more description of how compulsive this thing is, right? I just want him to like rub his hands until like, I don't know, they're bleeding or something, or like have half a page of him just saying, "Oh, it needs to be clean, clean, clean," something like that, I just like, I understand. In my mind, I can imagine what I want him to think, to feel, to justify how he's behaving, right? I just want to see it written. That's what I want. But yeah, it's like, yeah, I understand. Yeah. I don't know if it makes sense.
No, it does. I think kind of maybe how much of a compulsion is it for him, or yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, or maybe it would have been nice to show something like, I don't know, it could have been linked to maybe something like ADHD in the real world, that show him having like some compulsive behaviors, right? Maybe not even related to this, just show how compulsive it is of him having to do random things because, it has to be this way, right?
Maybe like also, OCD, right?
Yeah, like that sort of thing, right? Because that's what it feels like it, right? I guess that would be the equivalent in our world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we don't know exactly how he behaves in his private time, but he does but we've seen he does like things very clean, like in clean, not just as in like cleaned, as in not cluttered, not many things, just things, bare walls, bare floors, right?
So he can see, so there's no dirt hiding under the carpets, or there's nowhere for the dirt to hide.
Yeah.
So, Dan, I have a question for you. So if you had a choice, if you were in this world and you can live in Morgan's world, where everything's clean and tidy and neat and white, and you were controlled pretty much by him and his army, would you choose that, or would you choose to live in the world that we started in, that is, I guess you can maybe find a place that's quiet to settle down if you were just a normal person, no delusions, you're just a bystander? Which would you choose?
Yeah, I'm hoping, I guess, let's assume that most people are living a normal life. A normal medieval life. Let's assume.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess that's the usual question, like, would you prefer being happy but being controlled and not knowing that you're being controlled, maybe? Or being free but living a shitty life, right? Oh, like the Matrix or something, or whatever.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
It's the same idea, right?
Yeah, it is, actually.
Do you want to be insane but happy, or sane and miserable? I don't know. It's I mean, if I didn't know I was being controlled, maybe, I don't know, maybe Morgan's world is better. I don't know. Like, do they know? Because we've seen with what's her name? The fire delusionist.
Garen? Is it Garen?
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 Yeah.
Yeah, like, she knew she was being controlled by the slaver, right? So that gave her anguish. So she was feeling happy because he was telling her to feel happy, but she was also feeling terrible because she knew she was being controlled, right? So if it's like that, then no, I don't want that, right? But if you're blissfully unaware, I don't know. Maybe? Maybe? But I'm not sure that... Is this what's at stake? Like, free will? Because we haven't had much talk about... we've had talk about free will with the slaver, right?
Mm-hmm.
But not from the main characters, I guess. Like, I don't think they've said that that's, like, one of their core values, right?
Do they have values? I don't know.
Bedect has a list.
He does have a code. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
He seems to break all of them, though, but he has a code.
Mm-hmm. That's what they're for, right? For breaking.
Yeah, I mean, for breaking.
I don't know, Morgan, in terms of godhood, does it say what he gives his followers in exchange for their worship? Because, I mean, a human relationship with God is a sort of an exchange, right? You worship and maybe keep the God in existence, and they give you something in return, sort of. That seems to be what most religions do. They give you, like, it could be something abstract, like peace of mind or whatever, or you get things. Here it seems to be almost like a tyrant who's not really giving the people much. Maybe it's not... I don't think they don't have free will per se, but they have less choice, right? Because they... but on the other hand, the place that is filthy, Gotlos, the one with the king, they have less choice to be clean, I suppose, because the king is not cleaning, maybe is not doing a good job of ruling the place, it seems like, or... So, yeah. How about somewhere in the mid?
Yeah, that would be the best, right? Everyone should be moderate.
Yeah, somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
I'm looking over my notes. I think this is the humor. I think the part where Zunkuft, I'm probably mispronouncing her name, the woman with Bedect, when she's trying to sew him up and he says, "Remind me not to have you fix my pants." Like stuff like that is kind of funny. I enjoy the humor.
Yeah. Oh, I did have one point about her, which made me feel a bit weird, because I was feeling a bit weird every time Bedect was saying, "Oh, you're like a child," and then in the next page she was saying how attractive he was to him, and I'm like, I don't know about that. Seems a bit dodgy to me, you know?
Well, he doesn't reciprocate when she tries to, like, seduce him, so...
No, but in his mind, like, the way she's described, she's being described in a, like, she's attractive, she's been seen in a sexual light, right?
Yeah.
And it just feels a bit weird, because when just before it says, "Oh, you're like a child," and I don't know. I'm hoping that the description is sort of like a third point, like we're not seeing, it's not being described as Bedect would describe it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that speaks to it. I think that I kind of took it as that speaks to his character, as she's attractive, but he's not engaging. But even though he can, even though she's, I don't think it's because she's attracted to him necessarily. I think it's just her own trauma or her own delusions or her own need for whatever she's looking for. I think that's kind of where it's coming from, but he's not engaging with her. So I think it speaks to him in that he's not a complete scumbag. At least he's not taking advantage of the situation, knowing that she has problems, I guess. I don't know if that makes any sense. So I kind of took that as it's more about him than her, that he's not doing anything about it.
But I think I read it as he is attracted to her, but he refuses to act on it.
Right.
Yeah. That's how I read it.
Yeah. No, I would agree. Yeah.
But I'm just like saying questionable choice of words, maybe. I don't know. And it's also like, that's another thing. It's like he sort of seems like, okay, so he's not taking advantage of that. I mean, he's going to try to save this family, right, from these religious nutcases, right? It just feels a bit weird, given how in previous books they were just murdering random people, It's just like, okay, those random people don't matter, but these random people, these matter. It's like, okay. It's a bit arbitrary, which I guess is fine. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think the world has changed a little bit from, I guess, 10 years ago. I think maybe that's part of it. Is it has changed a little bit, I guess, maybe.
I don't know, but it hasn't been that long for them, though. Like for Bedekt and Victig, right? Because time passes slowly in the Afterdeath, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was only a few months, right, for them, and it was 10 years for everyone else. Something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, 2 weeks, I think.
Oh, 2 weeks, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the usual, like, okay, it's fine because these are random minions that we don't know much about, right? Versus, this is a scene, like we're getting more information about this. We can emphasize more with these people or something. It's I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But yeah, one thing I did think about when reading, because I think they said she explained like who these religious people were, and there was a bit of theological explanation. And it did feel to me like one of the many Christian heresies in which the current world is like a prison that you need to be liberated to go into the Afterdeath. I want to say it's the Cathars, but it could be wrong. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I still said it. But yeah, it did feel like, it did remind me of something historical. About some theology that did happen. And there's probably other ones, actually, that took it from this whole idea of the world being a prison, right? That you need to be released from. I guess these guys took it in a different way, but not a great way. So, I don't know.
Oh, did we lose Dan? Oh, here you are. Oh, we thought I lost you for a second.
Not yet.
They heard you. So, Varsha, are you rooting for Morgan?
Am I rooting for Morgan? I'm trying to think. Not really, because he's bringing war. That's mainly why. In terms of godhood, I haven't seen him be a god to his people. I haven't seen him interact with anyone other than Koenig and the three warriors. what was I saying? Yeah, and to whom he's been incredibly bossy, and he's really killing and rightfully so. They didn't treat him well, I suppose, but he's also, asking for beggars to be killed. Like, one approach to godhood would be clean them up, give them jobs, but that's not what he's doing. He's also a kid, though. He's also a kid who's insane. So, shouldn't be let loose to run the world. So
who do you want to win then, or what's your what do you want the ending to be, sort of, given the current situation?
interesting question. Let me think. What? So, can we take into account that they're all heading to the farmhouse? Which, yeah, we should talk about that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't read that way. I don't want a specific thing to happen. I just wait for how things go. I am sometimes eager for, I want to see more of this character. I want to see more of that place. I think in that regard, I'm most interested in what Zakumft is up to and what's going to happen with her. But yeah, ending, I don't know. I guess Morgan will lose the war. So it'll be interesting to see what'll happen as his influence reduces, because he's restricted to the city-state of Stelbatas. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that. I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong. But so it'll be interesting to see how his power reduces, and I'm guessing the army will just desert before they even get there. That would be cool.
I don't know, Varsha, when you said that you just kind of along for the ride and you're not really thinking about the future, I think your Malazan showing when you said that. Kind of just yeah.
Did the reader make the book, or did the book make the reader? There were a lot of interesting epigraphs in this one.
Yeah.
I highlighted almost every single one between chapter 7 and 22. See, the one I opened at random was boring, but here. War isn't insanity, it's the base state for all reality. Plants, war for sunlight. This one I didn't like, but it was interesting the way it was phrased, because you can phrase anything this way and make the point you want. You can say the point in this epigraph is plants war for sunlight, animals war for food and water. Change the word war to love, and then you will say, oh, everything like love is insanity or whatever. So someone's just having a field day by claiming that war is the base of everything. But there was one that I loved about labeling things. It's just stop. I'll try and find that one.
Was it just because you label something doesn't mean you understand it or something like
that? Yes, give up. So first I loved what they said about just because you label something doesn't mean you understand it. And then the next line is give up. Don't just stop labeling things.
Yeah, that one's very applicable even in our world.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the reason I liked all of them, because they felt very applicable to our world.
True, yeah.
Definitely.
I wonder where I heard the war one before. I've heard it before. I don't know if it's another fancy book or from some dude, some famous dude.
Maybe history.
Maybe, yeah. I think it's probably something like Napoleon or someone. It seems like something they would say, right? Or Caesar or some dude.
Justifying bringing war. Yeah, sure. There was, Did anyone else think that the statement about responsive reality, chapter 11, I think, I have to read the whole thing to remember, but is it, there was one epigraph that seemed like they were talking almost about quantum superposition, that you have, when you observe reality, it changes. So it seemed to be something to that effect. I thought that was cool. And the one about the author who wrote about a world where everybody's sane. that I just loved all the epigraphs in this one.
There were some really good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So, trying to think what else. Do you guys have anything else for these chapters?
I'm trying to remember the rest of the plot.
We talked about victory. Yes.
The farmhouse. You wanted to talk?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I can't say much, but I'll let you two talk about it.
Yeah, it's interesting that, something ends at a farmhouse. It feels mundane, but it's got a lot of intrigue added to it. Like, for something so mundane as a farmhouse, it's the world's ending at the farmhouse. I think even Morgan's reflection says he can't see past the farmhouse, and Zakam's reflection is saying she can't see past or her sister, I suppose, says she can't see past the farmhouse. And also, it's all the threads are converging there of possibility, not just so, and they can't see beyond that. Does that mean that the world is ending there, or that all of them are going to die? It's interesting. It's just intriguing enough on a mundane concept that, what's going to happen there?
Yeah. I like it. It feels like, to me, it felt something from like a Stephen King novel. It felt very horror-like, right? The farmhouse, right? It's something ominous about it. Something maybe like a cabin in the woods sort of situation or something. I don't know. Maybe they're arriving at different times and stuff is happening. Like one of them dies and then the body's hidden, and then another one arrives. Something like that. I'm thinking it's making me think of these sort of movies that I've seen. Or it could be, like you said, maybe something like, I don't know. I don't want to say magical or eldritch, but some strong delusions or some weird delusion power that manifests there, or something like that. Or maybe the farmhouse is magical. I don't know. Those could, I would be happy if any of these things happened.
And they seem to imply Zakam's sister, apparently, said that the dragon one is going to hit Pinnacle and basically destroy everything and clean the world for Morgan, right?
Yeah.
That's the prediction that's probably leading up to the farmhouse.
Yeah. It's not going to happen, but it would be cool if it happened.
You don't think?
Yeah.
I'm kind of... I don't know. Whenever something like that is mentioned in a book, and I'm like, this is... Everybody's going to try and stop it, and they'll do all the things, and then it'll happen anyway. So...
Okay. To me, it felt the opposite. But maybe, I hope I'm wrong. To me, it felt like, this might happen, but it's not actually going to happen, because, we're not that crazy to write it like that happens. But I hope it does, because that would be pretty cool, I think, and interesting.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like anyone can control her. Not even Morgan if she hits her pinnacle, right? So it seems like a likely event. At least logically, it makes sense that it would happen. So we'll see if it does. If it does not happen, it would take a feat of possibility. I was gonna say something else. Oh, I forgot. Never mind.
Do we know how her sister died?
I think she killed her accidentally. I don't.
Yeah, but do we know exactly how that happened? Like we know that, I think, because Bedeck says, "Oh, it's just an accident. You shouldn't." But I try to remember if we had like a description of what happened, or I missed it.
Don't think so. I think it just says that she pushed her, or she...
Okay, so it probably wasn't an accident, I think. I thought, like, when Bedeck said, oh, it was an accident, and I was like, it was not an accident, definitely not. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm interested in seeing about that, you know.
So what is Bedeck looking for that would stop Morgan? Do we know that yet?
I don't know.
Yeah. He's looking for something at that first city where we met them all, right? But we don't know.
Gloptos?
No, is that where we met them? The one starting with the U? Umbrock? No.
Oh.
That's where Stellan was also headed. I thought where she said she killed the priestess.
Yeah. I don't know what's there, though. What is there?
Yeah, I don't know. That's where I thought they were headed, but then now they're headed towards that farmhouse. So it's gonna get interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're heading to the farmhouse because she wants to go there?
Yeah,
Right.
the mirror is telling her to go there. It feels like the mirrors are all controlling what happens everywhere.
Okay. And Bedect is going with her because she wants to help her?
I guess the explanation was that she will see the future and tell him what to do, and he'll do it with that goal apparently. But then her sister's basically manipulating her, or she's letting her sister manipulate her. So I don't know why Bedect would trust her anymore, and I think he doesn't. But he's dying, so he has to go where she tells him to.
Or you could just abandon, just go on your own, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was in debt to her because the Mirroress promised to help him find Morgan, and that's when she had them save the kid who they thought they were on a mission to save the family or to save the boy, but when they get there, it was too late, which was probably a scene that Dan enjoyed. Another one, the darkness.
It's interesting. Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm the same way, so I dig stuff like that. So, but yeah, it was very very bleak. But yeah, I think he's still hoping that the Mirroress will help him find Morgan. I think that's kind of part of it too. Is he doesn't have much of a choice because he's on the verge, and then he's hoping that she'll still help him find Morgan.
I see. Well, I don't think that's going to happen, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Somehow it's going to turn out. Somehow it's going to do it, I think, but not the way he's planning, probably.
Mm.
But we'll see.
Yeah. Oh,
sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I was just saying that he does ask, "What's at the farmhouse?" And she says, "Your friends."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're all going to meet there.
Yeah.
Will be
here
an
we
interesting
go.
reunion.
So she says, "I killed her. We argued. I pushed her through a mirror. Shards of glass fell. One slipped between her ribs. She took hours to die, and I sat with her, holding her hand." So that's why I guess she became a mirrorist. And she says something bad happens there. My sister wants me to go. She showed me the future. Your friends will die there if we don't go.
Okay.
So I guess
And
he's...
if they go. Yeah.
Sounds like
She's being very
bad news all
cagey
the
with
way.
her information.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very similar to what we had in the first book with Morgan and the fire, sort of.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So that was headed towards possible ascension, right? This one's a little more vague. I feel like I'm slightly less interested. Like, yeah, it's a interesting ending to pursue the farmhouse, but also I don't know what the end goal is. Like, I don't mind when there is no ultimate thing we are chasing is.
Mm-hmm.
like in Malazan, like I don't know what is going to happen towards the end. But here we are being told this is sort of the end that we are headed towards, but I don't know to what purpose, and that's bothering me a little.
Very ominous. Like you mentioned, Dan, it kind of reminded me of Stephen King, like that. That's the last time he saw Susan alive, or whatever. It's kind of like that. Something's gonna happen. Someone's not gonna be happy.
Yeah. Or maybe we're gonna see them one by one. He entered the cabin, and then it stops and goes to the next chapter until we all enter the cabin, sort of. And then we get the sort of thing that's what happens, sort of like the Hateful Eight sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
We get like snippets, but we don't get everything, and then we get everything. That could be fun. I don't know.
I'm really curious to see what you guys think of the rest of the book.
Yeah, I guess because you know.
Yeah.
Do you know how it ends or how they get there as well? Do you remember everything that happens from here on?
I don't. I'm going to try and say this without spoiling anything. I don't remember the end, but I do remember. There's other events that I remember very clearly that happened that I was surprised with. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I still wonder whether, I know we talked about this last time, Steve. I wonder whether the farmhouse thing is going to be, well, I know we're past the middle right now, but if that's going to be something that happens immediately in the next few chapters and then we build up to something else from there on, or if that's the end of the book that we're leading up to.
Yeah, I think we're like halfway through, right? So
Yeah.
Maybe.
The farmhouse feels imminent. It feels like not much happened in the last 100 pages, right? Because we chased a lot of different POVs and we spent a little bit of time with a lot of characters. So, yeah, maybe it will be, in terms of how the story is moving that way, I guess the farmhouse will probably be the end.
I don't know. I think it's going to be 3/4 of the way, or like maybe 80 or 85%.
Yeah. I agree. I meant like, there'll probably be a lot of action, but it'll be the climax of the book, not
Okay. Well, we'll see. Soon.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Soon. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
I think that was it.
That's it? Cool. So anyone following along will be reading chapters 23 through 34 for next week. So everyone is ready, but that'll be next week. So in the meantime, Dan and Varsha have the 2 shortest outros ever. But Dan, will you start us off?
I can make it even shorter. You can find me at page-viewing forums sometimes.
I kind of want to compete with that. You can find me at the page-viewing forum always. And my YouTube channel, Reading by the Rainy Mountain. But yeah, the About page has other ways to reach me.
Yeah, you can't do it short. You need to promote your channel.
Yeah.
That's the luxury I have.
Yeah. And where can people find your podcast, Varsha?
Oh, I'm currently publishing it. Like I'm posting it someplace, but I'm publishing to Anchor, Apple, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music. Those are the 3 that I've got going at the moment. Yep.
Cool. Yeah. And I'll leave the links down below for that as well.
Thank you.
So cool. So then we will talk to everyone next week. And until then, hope everyone has a great one. And we'll see what happens. We'll see how the next little bit goes.